Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to the presentation for Employee Network Groups. My name is Regina DiMarco, and I'll be presenting the information for you today. Employee network groups are a relatively new phenomenon. They started back in the 1970s at a time when workplace diversity was virtually unheard of. This was a time when more women and minorities were entering the workforce. To answer the question of diversity and combat discrimination, employee network groups began to develop through grassroots movements from the employees to the employers. Companies view these employee network groups as an effective component of a diversity plan. It's actually something that they can have on paper to show that they're fulfilling their mission and the goal of a diversification plan. These groups focus on the business issues of specific groups, whether they be minorities, women, the disabled, the LGBT community, Hispanics, African Americans. Groups can encompass any kind of specific interest. These groups are designed to overcome discrimination by allowing groups of people with similar backgrounds and similar interests to congregate together and further their careers and discuss issues within the organization that are personally affecting them. It also provides an outlet for an organization to fully utilize its employees' talents and further develop them. This also benefits the employee just for the fact that they're able to increase their skills and become a better asset to the company. Over 90% of Fortune 500 companies are successfully using employee network groups. Some of these companies are 3M, Microsoft, Cisco, Allstate, Sodexo, and Air Products. They're leading the way in workplace diversification and employee satisfaction through the use of employee network groups. These groups can be found in both private sector and public sector companies. More and more public sector companies are incorporating employee network groups to stay in line with anti-discrimination laws. One large private sector company that has a successful company is utilizing their special group for the disabled to help engineers with product development. They're actually giving feedback, testing products to the engineers and providing feedback so that they can create more products to be more useful to the disabled community. AT&T's groups actually go out and mentor and provide scholarships at high schools. They have an Adopt a School program where they actually go into the high schools and work with students that are interested in pursuing a career in business. At Honeywell, they consider their groups to be a very important part of the recruitment and retention program. Through these employee network groups, they're able to reach out to minorities to fill positions within the company, and then to ensure that the minorities remain satisfied at the company, they invite them to join the employee network group so that they can have a say in what's going on and be productive members of the company. There's many things to think about with employee network groups. One of the major things is the benefits of such a group. One of the major benefits is it can help increase our business. The ways in which it can increase our business is that we'll be able to more easily reach out to multicultural customers. The way we can do this is by utilizing the talents of employee network groups, specifically the Hispanic or the Asian groups, if there are some, to help translate with customers and prepare documents and just perform community outreach programs so that we can further get the word out about our business. It can also help build our reputation within the community. No matter where a business is located, us included, we're part of a greater community of other businesses and residences and the people that work for us and the people that are vendors and our customers. By encouraging our employee network groups to go out and volunteer as a group, we can also help to further build our reputation. Furthermore, employee network groups can provide an outlet for employees to have a voice. When a person of a minority or a smaller group is within a group of people that they don't feel comfortable with, or they don't have any similar interests, they may have a difficult time using their voice and speaking up if they see something that should be changed or if they have ideas. By getting people of likeness together, their voice becomes stronger and they can feel more comfortable voicing their opinions. It also can foster a more vibrant and participative environment amongst these specific groups. Because we'll have groups of people with like interests, naturally leaders will form out of those groups and they'll be able to take the concerns of their groups to the company for the greater good of all individuals there. It can also meet the social and psychological needs of our employees. We have to face the fact that our employees are there for a good part of their waking hours. They have family issues, they have issues at work, and if they're able to communicate these issues and discuss them with like-minded people of similar backgrounds, it will help relieve stress for them and make them more productive in the workplace. Along with the many benefits of incorporating an employee network group, there are potential risks to be considered. One of the risks is intergroup conflict. If one group feels that they're not getting as much attention or resources as another group, it could cause conflict. We'll have to bring in some conflict resolution management in order to quell any conflict that could occur. Another is uncontrolled internal pressure points. This can begin to occur when there's groups with very different interests or beliefs coming into contact with others. One case in particular, a study done by Harvard Business Review, showcased a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered group that was fearing retaliation from a Christian group that wanted to form in the company. There was a manager in the Christian group that was actually distributing disparaging memos regarding the LGBT community, and that community was fearful that they would lose opportunities within the company and face discrimination from this Christian group that wanted to form. Another potential risk is unauthorized spokespeople. Because we could potentially have people going out in the community doing activities, mentoring, and volunteering, these people are going to be the face of the company, and we need to ensure that they present a respectable face at all times, and we need to also outline and be very specific about what they're able to speak about when they're out in the community at large. The fourth potential risk is the legal implications for exclusion. Because we can't possibly have a group for every single interest that's out there, we need to be very specific about what kind of interests we're going to allow. This brings up the case of Moransky versus the General Motors Corporation. Moransky wanted to create a group for Christians within General Motors, a group where they can get together and congregate and talk about their interests. At that time, General Motors, and still to this day, did not have any provisions for religious or spiritual groups, merely cultural differences. Moransky brought this to the courts and sued General Motors for discrimination. The courts actually found General Motors in favor in this case because prior to Moransky requesting a special group for his Christian group, General Motors did not allow any religious groups, so therefore there was no discrimination. We just need to be very careful and be very specific about what type of groups we allow. Another risk is draining and wasting of financial resources. Because we'll need to support these groups, there's going to be some financial impact. We need to be very specific about how the money can be spent and utilized, and make sure that some leader from each group is accountable for each of the financial resources. Lastly, another potential risk of these groups is that it could cause discord among employees by drawing attention to differences. When there aren't groups specifically for people of minorities or different religious backgrounds. Everybody's working together and not paying attention to what the differences are. Theoretically, they're not. By allowing employee network groups for specific interests, we're going to actually be drawing attention to the differences within these groups, which could be a potential cause of discord among the employees. The key here is realizing the benefits of our business needs, while minimizing the likelihood of experiencing the pitfalls, meaning all of these potential. After having gone through the benefits and the potential risks, my recommendations are as follows. First and foremost, we need to survey our employees to see if there's any interest in these groups. If our employees have no interest, there's no reason in expending resources to even start up any of these groups. Once we have the results of the survey and it shows favorable, we can begin outlining which special interests can be allowed within our groups. For instance, will it just be based on nationality? Will we allow religious-based or spiritual-based groups? We also need to research the legal implications of allowing or disallowing certain groups to ensure that we're following the guidelines of the law for discrimination. Next, we'll need to create an application process that requires each specific group to state their mission, their goals, and some sort of leadership structure. We'll also, as a company, need to budget resources for the group. This is going to entail financial resources, space resources, internal and external support, potential workshops for speakers to come in to help with career advancement. What is going to be the purpose of this group? How will the attendees as well as the company benefit from meeting together and making new contacts? What type of people are going to come together to form these groups, and how are they going to be able to hold themselves together? Next, they're going to need a place. As I mentioned, space resources. Will these networking groups be allowed to meet during company hours, during lunches, breaks, after hours? Will need to be very clear and specific and provide a place for the employees to meet for their groups. And lastly, we'll need a means to effectively promote these groups. We want our employees to know that this resource is available to them. We're spending money on it, time, resources, and we want our employees to use it to the maximum benefit for them as well as for us. Lastly, there's some additional resources if anybody would like more information. As always, I'm available for questions, and thank you so much for attending the presentation on employee network groups. Thank you.